Welcome back. James here at Caroline Forge, part 3 of the press build. Going to skip the formalities on this one. We've got a lot of stuff to get to. We left off on the second one, finishing up the dies, getting the beam welded up, all those little things, cutting the wedge off of the plate, or guide plate, things like that. Now it's time to do some little intricate things of assembling the press, like getting the top plate welded to the top die for the knuckle that attaches to the ram. That way we can hang that die on there, or that top handle on there, so we can find how long the pieces need to be between the anvil and the plate that rides the guide plate, so we can attach it to the guide plate. You got to do some little things, order of operations, but stick with me, we're going to do it. It's almost done. Okay, right here, some of you that have followed my channel for a while recall I had some forklift tines laying around. So what I've done is I've scrapped off a piece of that, 5.5 inches square. It's 1 3/4 thick. I believe it's 4100 series or 4200 series steel, or 4300, something like that. So it's going to be a really good durable steel. We're going to go get the forge lit up. We're going to preheat this thing, and it's going to be welded just like that to the top of this piece. Then we'll flip it over once it's all welded on there real good, and we're going to get our knuckle on here that the ram actually hooks to, so this thing can go up and down. But we got to get it attached to this first, that way we can get it in the center, figure out exactly where it's got to go. So let's get the forge heat up, preheat this bad boy. We'll be back, we'll get it welded on here. Okay, before we weld this, I want to take a moment to answer a question. One of you guys commented on the last part of this series when we were welding up these dies, these plates right here, and asked what the purpose is in preheating the steel. It's a very good question. When you're welding really thick steel like this, that is going to be under a lot of force or pressure, that is very dependent on your welds. You preheat the thick steel, and if you're using rods, you preheat your rods. You can buy rod heaters, keep those warm. The warmer the steel, the deeper the penetration you get with your weld. So say my welder only goes 1/2 inch, but if I turned all the way up and I preheat this, I could probably get 5/8 penetration, 5/8 inch penetration into this block, which is a whole lot better than 1/2 inch. Maybe only be 1/8 inch, but it's a whole lot better when it comes to strength. So preheating your steel is always a great idea. Okay. Take a wire brush, clean your welds up good. I use a gas welder, so I don't get much scale at all. I just got to get all the soot and everything off there, make sure it's clean before I make my next couple passes. It's all welded to it now, real good. I've got the top of the anvil marked out. Let's see, can you see the... Yeah, you can see the X there, found center. Got my center punch marks there. Made the ears for the knuckle that the hydraulic ram attaches to. Like so. They're going them lines like so. We got the ends 45, get some good penetration, drilled us some 1/2 inch holes in there to allow for the pin that goes through the ram, and we're going to get this welded into place, just like so, okay? welded. Thing lines up in there just like it's supposed to. We're gonna go hang it up on the ram real quick just to see how it fits. Okay, as you see, got our top die hung on the ram. It's hanging up there. It hasn't been secured in place with the backing plate yet. Got the engine up here mounted. That's how I'm gonna leave it for now. When I do change it over to the electric motor, I'll just take this engine off of here and mount the electric motor right there. But a lot of the comments I'm getting is telling me that that speed is plenty fast enough for a forge press. There's some guys that have commented, said they've got forge press with electric motors that doesn't move any faster than this one with the gas. So I think for now I'm just going to build a shroud to protect that. Since it is a gas motor and I'm working with heat, that tip came from Alan Schooner as well. He said make sure to be safe about it and put some kind of shroud around this, because I figure if I'm standing here running material through there, it's good and hot, scale falls off, if there's a gas leak or something like that, it could ignite that and that could be bad. So we want to put a shroud around that so no fire can get to that to ignite anything, and we should be okay. Just going to make that out of basic sheet metal. I'll do that in another video because that's not going to affect the way the press runs at all. But for now, we got to get this back on there. The plate that we cut the wedge off of. It's time to get attached back to the press. That way we can get this down and figure out where this needs to be set, how far out. We can get our spacers cut that goes behind there and welds to that bracket. And that way this thing will be secured and guided up and down. Alright, I made some new little bushings, spacers. Remember the ones that cracked and broke when I was taking it apart, so I got the new ones made. Okay, next, gotta put our spacer in. Take these little mild steel blocks that go right there, just like that, top and bottom. Put them on there, kind of push that into place. Hold it there. Take the bolt, run it right through there, just like that. Okay. Now we just tighten all this down. I got us one of these cut. I might have to put two on there. Actually, I'm quite certain I'm going to have to, but for now, I'm going to put this. This is my spacer that is going to connect the anvil to this plate, and I'll put another one up here as well. That way it's connected all the way around there and here, and then we can cut our dies off, and that way this ram is square to that, which means it should be square to this base plate down here at the bottom, which means if that's all square, then my bottom die, once I push down, I will be able to weld it in place, and it should match right up. Alright guys, quite pleased with the lineup on this thing. Take the torch, preheat this base, and we're going to get this bottom anvil welded on. I'm using my small torch, so it's going to take a while, probably take a whole bottle of gas, but it's got to be preheated. My big torch is in the shop. The diaphragm went out on the regulator, so they're working on that, getting it fixed for me today, but I want to get this done, so I'm going to use this small torch. I'm going to spend a little while preheating this, and then we're going to start some welding. Bearing grease out of the center of the hub from the wheels, since we don't need the wheels anymore. Reuse the bearings on something, or make a blade out of it or something, but this grease is definitely good grease for this. Put some big old gobs in there so it can spread it around once I fire it up. And it's going to push the grease around into the places it needs it. It's going to coat the back of that plate and everything. Alright, I've got my high heat exhaust tape. That's the tape. This is the wrap. It's you can pick this up at race shops, stuff like that. This is exhaust wrap, high performance exhaust wrap for racing engines. So this is going to protect it pretty well, because racing headers and exhausts tend to glow red, and they're wrapped with this, and it doesn't burn this. So I don't think we're going to have any issues between flame retardant hose, this, and then taping it all down. See, this isn't a tape. This is just a cloth wrap. I got to have that high heat metal tape to adhere it. But it's 100-foot rolls. I paid $65 for this roll. You don't have to do this, but it's smart, because the hydraulic lines, just to let you know what it's about. This hydraulic line, when you build your press, if you use a log splitter, if you don't fabricate a stand to where your engine will mount close enough, your pump will mount close enough to the valve, you're going to have to buy a new line. And hydraulic lines are not cheap. I just went and had to buy these 2 new lines to extend them, because I didn't want the center of gravity. I could have made it work if I'd have brought my engine up to here or something, you know, but then my center of gravity would have been way high. So I wanted it down here, and I just bit the bullet, went and bought the hose. But just to give you an idea, this line right here with the compressed fittings, the high pressure line, $1 an inch. An inch. This whole line, right, this one line cost me $90, almost $90, if I'd have had the whole thing replaced. But I was smart, and I went and just had them make a 2-foot extension to attach to the old one, since the old line was still good. But still, I paid $1 an inch for this, plus the fittings. So you do the math. It's like 65 cents. I think it was $85 total for this hose. This is just a thick hydraulic return line. It's not got any kind of reinforcement in it other than the mesh, but it is a 3/16 thick wall. So because it's just the return line that goes back to the filter, it doesn't have a lot of pressure on it. It's just held on with hose clamps. So this is cheaper. This is more like $1 a foot, okay, maybe a little less. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I paid a total of between $80 and $90, I think, for both of these lines, and all I got was this 2-foot piece and this line right here. So just keep that in mind when you're converting it over to a press, that you may have to buy these lines. So with the $500 purchase of the press, $60 for the steel that I bought to build the frame and the dies and everything like that from the scrap, or from the steel supplier off their scrap shelf, plus $65 for this roll of tape, and of course welding wire and things of that nature. You know, I'm going to have around just under, I think, $800 in this press build, and that's not including if I change the filter, the hydraulic fluid, and all that stuff as well, and that's not cheap either. So, but just to get it going and safely, it's going to cost you around $800 if you get a log splitter for it. All right, guys, got us a nice block, 1 3/4 square. It's a scrap piece. I had a friend over and was teaching him a little bit about punching eyes and everything. This was pretty crooked. It's one of his first attempts. So it's just a scrap piece. So I'm gonna throw it in the forge, get it good and hot, and we're gonna see what this press can do. This thing's so loud. For now, whenever I'm running the press, I'm just gonna extract the audio to where you can't hear anything. You just see what I'm doing. So I won't be talking. I may try to. This may be a video where I try to do some voiceover while the press is running. We'll see.
Alright, I don't have the billet all the way up to heat like I normally would when forging a hammer. I just want to see the deflection of this thing, and it doesn't really have very much, as you can see, if any at all. So I think it's going to perform very well. I'm going to get this thing back into the forge and get it good and hot and put the mustard to it and see what it can really do, guys. I'm actually kind of impressed with it as of right now. As you can see, it took that end down pretty quickly. I didn't really put much power to it. Still need to put a foot pedal on this thing, but for now, doing hammers, I can hold it with a pair of tongs and operate the handle until I have time to get a linkage made up to a pedal. But This thing is working awesome. Alright, we got this thing up good and hot now. We're going to turn it up on its end and see what it'll do. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, that thing will make a hockey puck sure as the day is long. Look at that. This thing's going to work great, guys. I am completely impressed with this press. It's a relief. It's going to save my arm a good bit. Get it up there and let that cool.
Alright guys, if you can't tell, I'm a happy man. Got me a press finally. I think it's been a long time coming. I've been wanting one bad for a while. A big thank you to my wife for finding that log splitter for that deal. That was awesome, and encouraging me to do it. She's a huge support to me. So, babe, that means the world to me. Now that I've got this, it's going to speed up production for me. So, thank you. Also, a big thanks to Tim over at Big Dog Forge, because I used his idea for the log splitter press, and I went a lot like his build. So, thank you, Tim, for having those videos up for me to be able to reference to. Really, really helped, man. It's not 100% complete as far as never going to work on it again, but it's 100% functional now. Okay, it works. I can use it, and throughout time I can upgrade it. Like, I'm going to put the sheet metal decking down so I can lay tools and stuff there. Now that I've got everything mounted up, I can change the gas motor over to electric without messing with anything else. I can get the shroud put around the gas engine, things like that. But as far as functionality and being able to use it, I can fire it up right now and get to work on it. So that's awesome. Just a few more dies to be made. So be expecting some more videos around this press coming out. We're going to call this series for the press build done with this video. But like I said, expect me to put out videos on building different kinds of dies for it, different kinds of tools for it, you know, something of that nature. If you've made it this far in the series, I want to say thank you. Not sure how exciting it is for you guys to watch someone to build a press over a span of 3 or 4 videos, but I hope it was an in-depth showing of how I did it, so maybe it can help somebody else. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate all the support, and the Patreons as well. Thank you guys, because I did use some money from the Patreon that comes in every month to buy stuff on this. So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be done with this thing right now, because money getting tight right now. So again, huge thank you to you guys, for real. Made this all possible. If you want to check out the Patreon, go to patreon.com/countylineforge. You can read up on it. There's different incentives and stuff for different levels. And speaking of Patreon, our Patreon specific giveaway is coming up very soon. Within the next week I will be announcing it, of what we're giving it away, and that's just for the Patreon, guys. That's our quarterly giveaway. We do 4 a year. So we already did one back in March. We were supposed to do this one in June, but I got a little wrapped up in this and a couple other things. But now that we're done, we can slow down. We're going to get that giveaway taken care of. Just to say thank you to you Patreon guys. I really, really, really appreciate you all. And as far as everyone else, thanks for watching. You always make it worth it. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. The support is phenomenal. It inspires me to keep doing stuff like this for you guys. So again, thank you very much, and we're going to catch you on the next one.